reminds me almost to say that we are recording the session. So I will say good day once again. We are recording the session and we will send you the necessary information as we go through in the process. So welkom aan die sessie vandag. Ons gaan die hele proses opneem en ons gaan dit later met julle deel sodat julle later die inligting kan met julle beheerliggaam deel sodat hulle ook hier inligting kry. Daar is die lys van ons provinciale bestuurders. That's the list of our provincial managers throughout the country. If you do need to get hold of them, and we are in a difficult time, as I mentioned, for those of you that have just arrived, we're getting more and more calls every day what to do about a positive COVID-19 case. That is the reality that we're dealing with. Our provincial managers are really well equipped to help and guide you through that process as to what you need to do. So please get hold of them from that side once you do. Unfortunately, we've got to say there's a high likelihood of you having a positive case in your school of some format. But let's dwell on things that are developmental and growing going forward. I'm going to hand over right now to Riaan. If there are any questions, please let us know. Maybe type something in the Q&A box to say, how are you at this present stage? Any information that you need, please put in there. I will feed information into the Q&A or the chat box for you during the session. And before I hand over directly to Riaan, I would be amiss by not letting you know that we have also got our CEO, Mr. Colditz, here today. I have had a very busy day, so I'm actually not really sure what he's doing here. I'll say that very carefully. I do know what he does, but I'm not sure what he's doing in this session. But I'm sure he's going to have input into the process as well. He never goes anywhere without having an impact in what he says. So I have to say we haven't had a prep session beforehand, but I'm really grateful to see him on board, and I'm sure his input would really be useful. So thank you very much. We have some of our provincial managers behind the scenes as well. We have a whole lot of people on board. Looks like we're getting close to our full numbers. So I'll hand over right away to Riaan. Riaan, goeiemiddag. En hoe gaan dit daar in Gauteng?
Dit gaan baie goed en so flow soos ons aangaan met hierdie online proses word jou Afrikaans beter. So well done to the Howick boykie that's giving us a lot of good Afrikaans. From my side, welcome to the session. It's really great to be with you guys today. Thanks for the intro, Paul. I think this is now kind of probably our 10th tech talk on Tuesday in a row. So I think we're getting somewhere with what we're aiming to do. Ja, en ons wil vir almal baie dankie sê vir die ondersteuning. But the aim is actually not to get crowds and support, but to actually bring about some value. Our guest today is Stefan Oberholzer from Weavind Online. Hello, Stefan, and welcome. We'll hear from you a little bit later on. And then I also asked our CEO, meneer Paul Colditz, wat lyk of hy in die Kalahari sit, of iewers by die see is, ek kan nie mooi sien nie. Baie dankie dat jy ook saam met ons is, Paul. Ek gaan vir Paul vra 'n paar inleidende opmerkings maak, maar voor ons dit doen, wil ek nog op my skerm deel en net vinnig een of twee gedagtes van die jaar met ons deel. Kom ons kyk gou of ons hierdie skerm is. Is my screen sharing, everybody? All good? So, if you look at the date today, you will see that it is the middle of the year, effectively. So we are halfway today. 30 June, there's 6 months gone and there's 6 months left for the year. And it has really been an interesting up and down year. And I think one of the biggest things that we've been experiencing is that for the last 3 months, the revolutions at which we've been working have been very high. So I wish we could say it's mid-year break. It's not. A break is on the way. But yes, if you go over the hill, it's downhill from here, they say. But we don't know how 2021 is going to look. So yeah, just take some relief, some hope out of the fact that everything, this too shall pass. But in this time, we've really had great talks, great chats on Tech Talk at Tuesday with service providers that's giving great value, great solutions, good options to schools. And today we're looking a little bit more internal. My second point there on the slide is our YouTube channel, because all the recordings of our Tech Talk on Tuesday and some of our free webinars are all available on the FEDSAS YouTube channel. And what we're trying to do with that is to say, a webinar is not just valuable when it's live and you participate in it. The value of recordings and the technology is, number one, the scale that we can achieve. So we can reach a lot of people. I think we're close to 100 participants now. But the joy of it is you can consume the information in the comfort of your own home, in the comfort of your own, on your own PC or device, but also in the comfort of your own schedule. And I think that's a very big thing that's been changing over the last few months. It's not new, it's just very sudden and accelerated for us in the schooling community, but it's always been around. Kids do not need to be told how to use YouTube. They just go there and they rewatch some of the stuff that they want to see over and over. I've got a 9-year-old son, and Nerf gun wars, if that makes you smile, just give me a little thumbs up in the chat box, because the kids know how to use this and they understand the value of it, going back to it again. So all our recordings are there. And that also points a little bit to what we're going to be sharing today. For our second half of the session, we're going to be needing 1 or 2 volunteers with a test case. Stefan, is that still correct? If we have 1 or 2 emails, we can test the screening tool. So if you are keen, there's no obligation, but if you are keen, pop us your email address in the chat box and Stefan can grab that and use it for the second half of the session when we're going to be looking at a screening tool. But before we get started with that, our opening portion, ons eie meneer Paul Colditz, hy was by die loodsing van die Sentrum vir Tegnologie, so 3 jaar terug, en 'n jaar terug, Oktober, het ons FEDSAS e-leerplatform geloods. Paul, thank you for joining us today. I wonder if you could just share some opening remarks on FEDSAS eLearn. Maybe I'm going to stop myself there. I want to share something else. Before we started the Center for Technology, we actually looked at 3 types of clients. The one was for schools. We want to bring schools solutions. The second one was for FEDSAS to be better in delivery to schools. And then the third one was our FEDSAS in-house efficiency. And all of these have started blending just by the session today. FEDSAS Online is our webinar platform, but it's actually a delivery of a service to a school. And it's also our in-house efficiency because we're not driving around. So the Center for Technology had 3 main target audiences, and they are coming together in one. And one of those options was the additional channel of e-learning or e-training. Paul, can you just give us your thoughts, your background ideas of how you saw training in the past, how you possibly see it rolling out in the future, and what e-learning can bring to the table for governors and school governing bodies?
Ja, baie dankie Riaan, dankie vir die geleentheid. Van my kant af ook baie welkom aan almal wat in hierdie sessie is. En dan ook 'n besondere dankie aan Stefan vir sy bydrae en die inisiatief. En die uitreik na FEDSAS toe om 'n produk daar te stel wat ons glo tot voordeel van ons lede sal wees. When I finished school, I wanted to become a lawyer. I wanted to go and study law, but everybody warned me, and Stefan knows he's a lawyer, everybody warned me about Latin. The difference between you and I, Stefan, not only in our appearance, is also in the fact that when I studied law, Latin was still a compulsory subject. So everybody warned me about Latin. And obviously many, many moons ago, when I finished school, I was still compelled to go and do military training. So I decided to use the time that I was spending in military training to enroll for a course in Latin at the University of South Africa, UNISA. So I registered for this course, but the difference is I physically had to go to UNISA to go and register and to collect my learning and teaching material. And then in the barracks in the army, I had to do my assignments and my studies and post my assignments to my lecturer at the university and receive it back by post. So distance learning isn't a new concept, but there is an important difference now. We now have e-learning, which means that I don't physically have to go to the university to go and register. I don't have physically to go to an office or a building to go and register. I can do it online. I don't have to sit in the barracks, but I can sit in the barracks, but I can also lie in my bed and I can also sit on my chair in my own study and do the e-learning. So it's much easier, much cheaper than it was in those days. The registration fees and everything that I had to pay. Fortunately, we still had an effective post office. Now we don't even have to rely on the post office anymore. We have a much easier way of communicating and of participating in this e-learning process. FEDSAS has a passion about the promotion of good governance. And I think everybody knows and everybody is seeing the decline in the quality of governance in this country over particularly the past 10 years. We are passionate about stopping that trend and starting at the place where we can be influential, and that is at the school level and with our own members. It is critically important for all of us involved in schools and in school governance in particular to understand the very often difficult concept related to governance. And governance is usually a universal concept. So it's important for us to get the message across, not only in the physical training, and the e-learning is not intended to replace what we've been doing in the past. What we have also planned was very intensive short courses that we would have conducted in our offices in Bloemfontein on governance in general, particularly issues such as ethical governance, issues such as the concepts underlying integrated thinking, integrated planning, integrated reporting, and all the responsibilities associated with good governance as highlighted in the King 4 report. Now, it wasn't intentional that we started with the idea of e-learning and conveying our message through e-learning. We didn't know at the time what was lying ahead, but it now proves that we were proactive in terms of making this facility available. And I really would encourage every one of you listening now to not only yourselves make use of this opportunity, but also to encourage other members of your school governing body, school principals, school management teams, and colleagues in other schools all over the country to make use of this opportunity so that we can build a system of school governance in this country that is the best in the world. That is my dream. That is my passion. So enjoy the session and take everything that you can from Stefan. I see, Stefan, you already have quite a number of volunteers to participate later in the program. So good luck, Riaan and Stefan. I'll be in the background listening and watching. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Yes, so obviously we're talking about e-learning today, and it's not just e-learning in your class that we've been talking about over the past few weeks, how to do remote learning, continued learning for school. What we're focusing on today is the platform that FEDSAS created for school governors. We're in partnership with Weavind Online, which is the company that Stefan represents, and they've created for us a platform where we can do self-paced, computer-based. So not self-based, computer-based. I got it all wrong this morning, but self-paced, meaning on your own schedule, computer-based, where you have access, you can do the training. So Stefan, not to belabor the point, thanks for joining us today. Will you take us through a little bit of a chat and a talk? I might interject with some questions, but why is e-learning important, and how can we serve our school governors better with the platform that we have and the course that we've already got signed up there? Over to you.
Certainly. Thank you, Riaan. I really appreciate that. I think just, you know, before I start, welcome to everybody. I just want to, you know, especially thank and you know, express our sincere gratitude to Mr. Colditz, to Paul, Riaan, yourself, and the entire FEDSAS family, you know, for welcoming us and onboarding us as a partner in the Center for Technology. We are really honored and thankful to be able to work alongside you, and, you know, to be a part of your vision to, you know, be the leader in school governance in South Africa. You know, we really are honored, and we thank you for the opportunity. So, you know, I think today is really just an expression of that, and I would like to, you know, just add on to what Mr. Colditz said there earlier. You know, he mentioned that he would have, you know, always wanted to be a lawyer. I'll be completely frank, that is not what I wanted to be. I kind of accidentally came across the profession, and I am thankful for it. However, we like to, at Weavind Online, refer to ourselves as reformed lawyers. We are essentially a legal technology company, which specializes in the development of bespoke legal tech software. And amongst other aspects, that includes the development and deployment of e-learning platforms for our clients. So I, you know, am very thankful to the profession. I did not need to, you know, take Latin as a compulsory subject. I wish I had, though, because, you know, in hindsight, I think it just adds an extra edge. And most lawyers today, never mind what they tell you, you know, having the Latin background definitely gives you an edge. But so thank you for the opportunity. I think I'm going to hop straight into the demonstration, or let me rather start off with just a brief slideshow pertaining to the e-learning platform, and then we'll move on to a few of the additional product offerings that we'll be canvassing here today. And if I could just share screen, and Riaan, if you could just confirm that you are actually seeing the screen and everybody is actually on. Right.
100%.
Okay. All right, so essentially what we have done pursuant to deploying the FEDSAS e-learning platform is we've created a centralized environment where FEDSAS is able to distribute relevant and topical content to its member base for no other reason other than to add additional value to the member base. But, you know, just to add on to what Mr. Colditz said a little bit earlier as well, is the idea behind e-learning, at least from our perspective, has never been to replace the face-to-face personal component associated with training and building relationships with your community. It is more aimed at enhancing that process and in creating a user-friendly, centralized environment where users are able to access relevant training content from anywhere at any time and engage with it in their own time and at their own pace, which we believe is hugely beneficial in the learning process itself. So that was the goal, and we essentially launched the FEDSAS e-learning platform during EduTech last year, October 2019, if I'm not mistaken, Riaan. And since the user base has grown to well over 150 users and growing daily, weekly, we have engaged a number of individuals in the SGB space and educators alike who have really enjoyed the training. First of all, not only the user-friendly nature of it, being able to access it from any time and anywhere, but also ultimately you are able to engage with FEDSAS content in their environment from any time, you know, at any time, anywhere. Currently, the platform offers two very topical training courses, short training courses, the one being FEDSAS's governing introduction to governing and governance course, and then secondly, which is a very relevant and topical issue, especially in this week, is an introductory course in respect of the Protection of Personal Information Act, which is becoming, I wouldn't say fully enforced because that's not true, but more fully enforced as from tomorrow, the 1st of July 2020. the much anticipated provisions of POPI that deal with the 8 conditions of lawful processing, which responsible parties, even school bodies, well, schools need to comply with. Those provisions will be enforced as from tomorrow. And then the regulator has essentially given schools 1 year within which to comply. So very relevant, very topical training course available, currently for free as well, which will be the case up until at least the end of July, to give SGB members an opportunity to familiarize themselves with what is required, not only in terms of governance, but also, a very relevant topical legal issue in applying the Protection of Personal Information Act and its provisions and requirements into your day-to-day operations as a school. The legislation is one aspect, but then ultimately you need to comply with that legislation on a practical level. And that is really what the introductory course is aimed at doing. So we started off with the maxim, we have to learn as we live, and Riaan aptly extended it to we have to learn and teach and govern and train as we live. The cornerstone from our perspective to compliance in any organization is really training. Ultimately, one sees that solutions, and I don't think an SGB is any different, but solutions typically come from inside, and you need to empower and uplift your community, internal community, in such a way as to derive solutions for operational challenges. And that often happens through training. And the FEDSAS e-learning platform really is just another investment which FEDSAS has made into reaching their audiences in a much more effective way, and to really cater to the busy lifestyles that we all have. I mean, it's really, life in this day and age is a lot more intense. It's a lot more fast-paced, and we need to provide learning management systems and solutions to our communities that cater to that, and that actually deal with the fast-paced nature of everyday life. And this is essentially what the e-learning platform aims to do. So I'm just going to quickly skip ahead, and I just want to show you just very briefly, ultimately, some of the really core benefits that we've attempted to unlock in terms of deploying the FEDSAS e-learning platform. And also, from our experience as Weavind Online, we've deployed a number of e-learning platforms to specifically corporate and regulatory clients who have a very direct and captured or captive audience, if you will. And we've, in our experience, seen that, again, not to replace the face-to-face human personal interaction, but to deliver digitized, personalized learning, which increases, obviously, the ability or the capability of the training provider to be able to track progress, report on that progress, and then also target their training approach slightly more accurately, and delivering training that is more relevant and that is sought after by their audience. So we've really found that, aside from reducing costs, ultimately associated with, even in today's day and age now, with COVID-19 being the order of the day, we are in all likelihood going to see face-to-face training interventions, if you will, really slowing down. I think that we are going to see a dramatic rise in e-learning capabilities being deployed across not only you know, the school environment and the educational space, but also in the corporate world. It really is becoming a lot more popular. And, you know, I think that this pandemic and this unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in as a nation and as the world has really catalyzed this sort of transition into a place where e-learning will become the primary mechanism or means by which training and learning interventions are provided to audiences. But again, you know, the aim is not to replace it, and that's why we try to adopt a really personalized approach in delivering the e-learning training as well, and you know, user interactions with us on the platform itself. So just a few of the benefits, and then if I could just quickly show you, and I'll do a live demonstration in a second as well. But ultimately, the e-learning platform is available, it's live, all the courses are free, so all that you as a user need to do is visit the site. We'll share the link with you in, I believe, this slideshow will be distributed to all the attendees. But the link is also found on FEDSAS main website or fedsas.education.rocks. And ultimately, you just need to register, create your profile, and then enroll for the courses that are available. It really is very user-friendly, and if you do have any issues for any reason whatsoever, you are more than welcome to contact us. We will, you know, assist you. We will be in contact, and we will assist you through the registration process to ensure that you are able to access the courseware and complete the training intervention that you selected. So it's really a very straightforward sign-up registration process. You will be obviously.
I'm going to interrupt you there. Don't you want to just increase the size of your presentation? Just go into presentation mode.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We can see.
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay, you've got two screens going.
I do have two. Sorry, just let me quickly.
Otherwise, just go back to that one and increase the size. We just can't see the sign-up page there.
No problem. I'm going to actually share.
Here we go. That's great.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Up and present some.
You guys have it.
Yeah, super.
Okay. All right. So the sign-up really straightforward, and you will be obviously you'll choose your own password, and then be able to sign in on the site. Then you are going to be able to access your dashboard. Depending on which course you've now obviously enrolled for, the course is going to be available on your dashboard, and you will be able to view the course and undertake it in your own time. There is also functionality which enables you to create your own profile. As the community of users starts growing, you know, we are going to be unlocking really innovative functionality which enables discussions amongst you know, SGB members, community members regarding certain topics and issues, so that those inquiries can actually be dealt with in the training environment as well. All right, so this is just an example of the flow pertaining to the introductory governance course, which you would then start, and it's essentially broken down. It's a modular-based content and training course, which deals with all the core outcomes identified by FEDSAS, and essentially at the end of the course, you would then be charged with completing an exam, or rather a quiz in this instance, to test your knowledge and to essentially upon completion produce your certificate of completion, which I'll show you in a second. So this is essentially what you will see when working through the training material. Here's a short introductory video presented by Dr. Jaco Deacon, and and each module essentially comprises of video-based content as well on certain topics and on portions of the content, and then also essentially just standard content which is derived from the governance material and which FEDSAS makes available. And which is also obviously available. There's a link to the Snaplify platform on the course, which enables you to go and access and buy the training guide, which the course is based on. So ultimately, this is how you navigate through the course content, each section and each outcome being dealt with separately. School as a juristic person, what is governance, broken down into digestible chunks. And then at the end, as I mentioned, you will then be charged with completing a quiz with a certain pass mark that you would be required to achieve in order to recover or retrieve your certificate of completion. And this is what those questions would look like. And the same principles apply across the board. As the content library grows, which we are actively working on, myself and Riaan specifically through a partnership with SAICA, and there are a few other training interventions which are queued and in the roadmap for the year ahead. The training will be presented in a similar fashion. The testing mechanisms might differ depending on the actual content. And then you submit your answers. Sorry, I just skipped there. You submit your answers, and ultimately, upon completing the quiz, you would then be issued with your certificate. This is just an example of the practical guide to school governance, which is available on the Snaplify platform, which I'm sure most of you have already seen or had access to. And then at the end of it all, your certificate will be generated confirming your attendance and that you have completed this particular course. That is really what it boils down to in a nutshell. I would be able to keep you all busy for very long to explain all the intricacies and the innovative functionality, but that is ultimately the course in a nutshell, or one of the courses in a nutshell. The introductory POPI course works in exactly the same fashion, and your certificate gets generated at the end. This is at this stage, well, these are the two courses that are available, but in coming weeks and months, as I said, especially in the lead up to next year, which we are advised is FEDSAS's big training year, there will be a lot more content that will be available and relevant training interventions that you would be able to engage with. I'm not sure if it's appropriate while I'm setting up the next session or the next step, Riaan, to field a few questions. I don't know if you maybe want to kick that off.
We can do that. Miskien kan ek jou vra, as daar enigiemand is wat vra wil vra, as julle welkom in die Q&A box het sit. So any questions in the Q&A box. Stefan, so the important thing for me is just where do people start? Currently, the introductory POPI course and the introductory governance course, which is based on our FEDSAS practical guide to school governance. The booklet can be bought on the Snaplify platform at, I think, 120 Rand. But the course as it stands until the end of July, well, it's been for free since the inception of the e-learning platform. And we've given it for free in this COVID-19 time so that people can get comfortable and get ready with it. So the first question is cost. No, there is no cost at this point in time, except for if you want to buy the booklet. But if you were part of the SGB in the 2018 year of training, you would have received the booklet. If you require some booklets, you can either get them in print from our offices, or the easiest way is to get an ebook on the Snaplify platform. The second thing is then how to onboard. So there's a banner on the FEDSAS main webpage, fedsas.org.za. So if we've got a question in our office and we ask a silly question, our CEO kindly says, I can refer you to W, and then everyone grabs their pens and it's fedsas.org.za. So that's the main answer page. There's a rolling banner that says FEDSAS eLearn, or you can contact elearn@fedsas.org.za and we can give you guidance on how to onboard. Currently, you just register at fedsas.education.rocks and you are open to do that course. And we would love to get your feedback. So there's no hurdle to onboard and there's no cost to that as well. Stefan, I've sent you 4 email addresses. I don't see any other questions on the e-learning, but we can quickly jump in. We've got about 8 minutes left. If we can have a look at some of the other services, and I think we're primarily going to focus on something that's very relevant to us. We actually had a discussion about it a couple of weeks ago with D6 as well. All the recording of the screening questions and the data capture and that kind of thing. And Weavind Online also came up with a solution in that, which is not for free, contrary to the course material at this point in time. But you wanted to show us a great solution that you guys came up with that's available to schools, and you've actually had quite a few schools being interested in that and buying the product, using the product. I think for us, we know that the speed at which you want to get learners through the gates is important. And from next week, Monday, a whole lot of schools will have at least 50% of the school on the campus, if not more. So yes, it's increasing. The number of people on campus is increasing. And we need to take good care of the data and the screening and that kind of thing. Just lead us into the screening tool that you guys have.
I think, sorry, just give me a second. I just shared the link to the questionnaire with the email addresses that you shared with me, Riaan.
Okay.
I just want to quickly, if I should just stop share again. Just excuse me, everyone. Sorry, it's my first FEDSAS webinar, so I'm trying to navigate the stop sharing and sharing functionality here. Can everybody see my screen now?
You're in the online learning, the e-learn platforms.
All right. Perfect.
Page. Yeah.
Great. All right. So what I did was I shared with the 4 email addresses that you just sent me, who've now obviously opted for the demonstration. I've sent a link to the screening, the health screening questionnaire, the demonstration. So if I could perhaps ask, I don't want to mention those individuals' names sort of, publicly here. I am after all a poppy, an advisor on the Protection of Personal Information Act, so I don't want to fall foul myself. But if those individuals could perhaps just open up their emails if they have access to it, or even on their mobile devices, they would have received this link now, which is the health questionnaire that you, if you were to purchase the screening tool for your school, would then be able to generate for yourself. And essentially, this is how it would work. So we, in deploying our one of our legal tech offerings earlier on in the lockdown, we deployed a COVID-19 workplace policy kit, which enables employers and workplaces to comply with the regulations and specifically the health and safety directives. Which is currently available. There is also a school option available, but that sort of prompted the need amongst our client base to deploy a very unique symptom screening tool, a digitized symptom screening tool, which enables them to screen their employees, learners, and believe it or not, one of our most popular clients at the moment is churches and religious institutions as well. So that there's not a need for downloading another app. It's just simply you as an organization or a school in this instance, you create your own branded symptom screening tool where you develop your own link, which you then send to your community either via WhatsApp, email, or SMS, depending on what your means of distribution would be. But ultimately, this is, in a nutshell, how it would work is you would choose your package, your option. We have developed a school-specific option as well, which is priced at 4,800 Rand per school. It obviously enables the custom branding of this questionnaire as well. And the idea behind that was to ultimately, try and elicit sponsorship from interested parents or organizations who are involved with the school. We are going through a very challenging financial time in general, but to lighten that load and to enable a benefactor to be able to, sponsor the actual tool itself. So the tool basically is priced at 4,800 Rand. It's a once-off billing, free hosting. It's available in multiple languages. You would have seen English, Afrikaans, Zulu. We have plans for Xhosa and Sotho to be deployed very soon. And then it simply works as you would normally buy airtime, for instance. You can just purchase additional screenings as you deplete your initial quota of 50,000, and then the custom branding option is obviously available. So that's basically how the package range looks. And then the registration process is really simple. You would fill out the registration on the main site, and then you would go and create your own unique link. So if I could use an example, I'm just thinking now, Garsfontein High School, or there's a host. You go and create your own link, and that is essentially the screening questionnaire that you then send out to your audience. You select your payment or your package and simply request an invoice, and then one of our consultants will then be in contact with you to help you through the onboarding process. But that's as easy as what it is. The minute that you actually then register and you create your screening tool, I just want to quickly show you. This is now an example. I'm not sure, is it possible for us, Riaan, to get confirmation from one of the attendees who's perhaps completed the tool? Or if we could just perhaps ask, the individuals who the link has now been sent to raise their hand, then I'll be able to show you, in demo, what the actual value is in this offering. And that lies essentially in the dashboard. So you don't only buy a questionnaire, you essentially buy a dashboard which enables you to symptom track, or sorry, to contact trace and to track your screenings on a day-by-day basis, and then to essentially report on those results and to verify attendance by individuals to your premises. So this is what your dashboard would look like. You would see how many views.
We have one of the candidates confirming that they have completed. So een van hulle.
Oh, fantastic. So we'll show you now. So the dashboard would essentially tell you how many screenings you've got left, who's viewed, how many completions there have been, how many verifications there have been on any particular date. So this would typically be, the access control mechanism by which you enables pupils or learners to the evening before or the morning of to complete the questionnaire. Not only learners, obviously educators and support staff as well. And then that is what they need to do. And then they can simply report to school, and you can then measure their temperature. There's no need to fill out forms on site or to go through a long, tedious process on site because the majority of the work has already been done. So this is essentially the verification process. So we'll see here that this is essentially the value. Here you've got a recordal of all your screenings done on any particular date and at any particular time. On site, the administrator would then be able to search. I'll just use one of mine as an example, to search by name. We can't expect learners, or one would be surprised how many people don't know their ID numbers off by heart. So all that the individual who attends to site needs to do is to mention their name, and then the administrator would then pull up all the screenings done for that person and be able to see the last screening that they did. In this instance, mine was the 18th of June. I passed, and I'm able to log the verification that I was actually there. There we go. So you just missed that now. But basically, it's just to simplify the screening process and to digitize it so that you are able to keep a record of it more accurately. And then what you would be able to obviously do as well is you would be able to extract these results. So you would be able to, for instance, a PDF or an Excel, and you can just at any time extract a class list or a list of everybody that's been tracked and screened for contact tracing and reporting purposes. So it really is, I mean, we haven't reinvented the wheel. It's just to simplify the screening process and to make it a little bit easier for employers and specifically schools to manage.
Stefan, we're running slightly out of time. I think we started maybe a minute or two late, and we all had a few good things to say in the early session, part of the session. Can you please maybe just show us how Olive participated in the platform, so that we see?
Oh wait, sorry, I just went out there. Just give me a second.
And I think we've got most. Yeah, I think that was all that.
There was Olive, and there was also sorry, I'm just looking for the name here, and Jason. Olive and Jason.
Olive and Jason.
J-A-Y.
J-A-Y, yep.
J-A-Y. Okay, so sorry, I just need to now get back to my screen sharing again, but I've pulled up Jason here. Just give me a second. There we go. Everybody see?
Yes.
Okay, so here's Jason. Jason's screening. Jason completed the screening at 14:45. He passed, and he's, it was one screening. He has his date of birth, contact details, and then all that we do upon his arrival on site, or we have deployed this to a number of professional firms or professional service providers for actually doing their appointments. Also hotels, guest houses, these types of organizations that need to do a pre-booking. But then essentially Jason's attendance on site, whether he reports to reception or at the gate, and there's a class head or department head that's busy tracking who's entering the premises, his attendance is verified, and that is all that needs to happen. We will be, in the next day or two, there's going to be a column introduced for actually recording temperatures as well, so that your temperatures don't need to be recorded separately. It will all be recorded on the digital dashboard going forward. So
Excellent.
That's just an example of how it works, and we believe it's really user-friendly to actually deploy.
Yeah, I'm sure Jason would have quickly, Jason and Olive and all the participants would have just quickly flashed through the screens on their cell phone, tick, 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 what the answer is to the question. So it's really easy to use, and they can do it beforehand, and then the log is set.
Yeah, I would do we can send everybody, all the attendees after the fact, just a link to the questionnaire. I don't
do
want
that.
to waste your time.
No, 100%. Yeah, thank you so much, Stefan. That sounds exciting. I think every day is a new day and a new challenge for us, and wonderful that some people are in the market getting ready for this. I must tell you, everyone that's still part of the session, I think in the last 3 weeks, I had 3 companies contact us to say that these apps are available. So the market is suddenly full with options on apps. We've been dealing with Weavind Online for a little while, and they came up with something really quick as part of legal compliance. But yeah, so the takeaway from today, I really want to close the session, not run too late. I see Paul, our CEO, open his camera. Do you want to continue, add a little bit something, or just say a brief goodbye?
Wanted to say goodbye. Goeiedag vir almal. Good day to everybody. Enjoy the rest of the day and all the best with the challenging times we're all confronted with now. Thank you.
Yes, very much so.
Thank
and
you.
From my side as well, we want to thank you for being part of the session. So the big takeaway today is, number one, we all, not forced, but we were forced to put our learners and our teachers into a situation of getting used to a new way of work with remote learning, and a lot of schools on e-learning. The FEDSAS survey that we ran, just about 80% of schools said that they stayed up to a big portion of the curriculum in the remote learning time. So e-learning and computer-based learning and paper-based remote learning continued. So for me, it's really important to think that our governors, our SGB members, should start changing their ways as well while we don't have the other means. So really go play around on our e-learning platform. Make sure that you onboard yourself. The introduction to e-learning is a really great course, and it doesn't take long. It's a modular based short course. It's not a long course, and it will really serve you for the rest of the remainder of your term of governance. I think Paul Renken had a session planned on finishing strong. We probably had it early in the year, that it was a theme for our governors, that we want to finish strong towards the end of our term. And now suddenly we've got a whole new host of issues to deal with. So keep regular or standard or normal governance issues in mind. And that's what the course is for. And that will empower you and equip you even more to navigate these difficult times with the right frame of mind. Stefan, thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing with us. And everyone can contact me to get through to you. Otherwise, the links were on the screen, and we will have this recording. Have a great well.
Thank you very much, Paul. Thank you, Riaan. Thank you, Mr. Colditz.
Cheers. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.